Hello everyone, I'm Alan Fisher. On this episode of AZ Illustrated Science, we'll tell you about an ongoing conflict between paleontologists and commercial fossil dealers. Also, new findings about the flu and a tool you can use to locate local healthcare resources. But first, here's a look at today's top stories.
Governor Jan Brewer is back in Arizona and faces a firestorm surrounding Senate Bill 1062, the bill allowing businesses to refuse service to anyone based on religious convictions. A new poll by a Republican consulting firm finds that 57% of Republicans want the governor to veto the bill. The poll was taken Monday night. Questioners spoke to registered Republicans who voted in the last two primary elections. Nearly 28% of those polled want the governor to sign the bill into law, and 15% had no opinion. The poll had a 4-point margin of error. The Pima County Health Department recently added a new mapping tool to its website to help residents locate Affordable Care Act resources in the community. The map allows people to identify places where they can get enrollment assistance as well as get answers to health insurance questions. The idea behind the map is to identify locations close to people's homes where they can go for the help. There's also a phone number for those who would rather speak to a person directly. Tucson Mayor Jonathan Rothschild will give his annual State of the City speech tomorrow, laying out goals for the next year. Fixing the city's infrastructure, notably its roads, was a priority for Mayor Rothschild in his 2012 and 2013 State of the City speeches. Both of those came before the city started a voter-approved program to spend $20 million a year on road repair for 5 years. The mayor has also consistently advocated for annexation and incorporation in order to get more revenue from state coffers into the metro area. In the past year, the city council has not considered any major annexations or attempts to buy county land. And that's a look at tonight's headlines.
Tucsonans and an estimated 45,000 out-of-town visitors who thronged the gem and mineral shows earlier this month may have come across one treasure apart from the precious stones, beads, and other bling on display. Vanessa Barchfield reports on the unique find and some controversy behind it.
Among the most precious finds at this year's Gem and Mineral shows were the fossilized remains of a creature that roamed the Earth's surface more than 65 million years ago.
It's incredible. It gives me goosebumps, like good music.
Yeah, me too.
The Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton stands 12 feet high and 38 feet long. He's posed mid-snarl, bearing his ferocious fangs. His name is Russell, and he's for sale. Russell was on display in a showroom off Oracle by Tucson-based GeoDecor. Owner Thomas Lindgren says GeoDecor excavates and prepares dinosaurs as part of a range of prehistoric fossils.
Basically, the finest masterpieces the Earth has ever produced naturally, and took them from being a museum specimen to being appreciated as art.
Lindgren sells his pieces to museums, corporations, and the public. He has some small affordable fossils, but most of his pieces go to the super rich. The company's website showcases a portfolio of custom murals and mosaics, prehistoric fish and plants embedded into limestone decorating luxury bathrooms and kitchen sinks, or hanging above lush indoor pools.
It's so much fun to walk into a building in Southern California. You come into the lobby and suddenly there's a huge school of fossil fishes swimming across the wall in these limestone that I put in 1990.
Russell, whose price tag is $2.9 million, is the first Tyrannosaurus Rex Lindgren has displayed in his Tucson showroom, and he sits in the midst of a brewing conflict between commercial collectors who sell their pieces to the highest bidder and paleontologists who stress the scientific importance of these ancient fossils. Thomas Carr is the director of the Carthage Institute of Paleontology in Wisconsin and an outspoken critic of the commercial sale of dinosaur bones.
All dinosaur fossils are important in terms of the information that they contain and about extinct life. And when such fossils are sold to private individuals, that information is forever lost.
Under U.S. law, the collection of fossils on public lands is restricted to qualified researchers with permits. The sale of pieces collected on those lands is strictly prohibited. But fossils found on private land are private property. Fossil hunters pay licensing fees to landowners in fossil-rich areas such as Montana and Wyoming. Once found and excavated, commercial traders can sell the pieces to whomever they choose.
In the United States, we have a right to sell, keep, display, whatever we want to, as long as it's our personal property. Now, if we want to share this with science, all the better for science. But the more scientists push us, the less we will be willing to work with them.
Lindgren says despite strained relations with the scientific community, he doesn't just sell scientifically important pieces to the highest bidder. He gives access to researchers and museums.
We've done everything that we possibly think we can to make sure that if it's an important specimen for science, we give them every opportunity to actually put that science to test by giving them the material to either look at, study, or possibly even purchasing or finding a benefactor for them to purchase. The majority of the most important fossil discoveries in North America, at least in the United States, not necessarily Canada, but in the United States, have come from the commercial collectors. And it's because of the investment, it's because of the time and the expertise that they've developed.
But Thomas Carr says commercial collectors just granting access to scientists isn't enough.
According to the ethics of my profession, of the scientific profession, we cannot study fossils that are not in a real museum because there's no guarantee that those fossils will have the guarantee of access in perpetuity. There's no guarantee that in private hands those fossils will be conserved adequately. So right now, I can't go and study the T-rex named Russell that's on display at the Gem and Mineral Show. I just can't touch it.
There are those that say, because it was commercially collected, it has no value. All of a sudden, they won't even attempt to acquire it for their museums without ever looking at it. How can you say it has no value if you don't look at the record keeping that was done, the collection methods that were used, and the fact that these are collected by people that are immensely qualified? We're professionals. We're professionals in our field.
Commercial fossil collectors have a long history working with paleontologists. One fossil hunter named Charles Sternberg worked with dozens of museums and universities from the 1870s to the 1920s. The current bonanza in the commercial market is usually traced back to 1997, when the most complete T-rex skeleton ever found, called Sue, was auctioned by private collectors to Chicago's Field Museum. Private donors, including McDonald's and the Walt Disney Corporation, footed a large portion of the $8.4 million price tag. Last year, the auction house Bonhams hosted a glitzy sale showcasing the dueling dinosaurs, thought to be a new species of ceratopsid and a small tyrannosaur. The specimen, which was expected to go for around $9 million, failed to sell when final bids were lower than the owner's minimum price. Thomas Carr says these sorts of auctions are driving prices up, making fossils virtually unattainable by most museums and scientists. On the other hand, Thomas Lindgren of Geodecor says most fossils will eventually make their way into museum collections.
The concern is, this T-Rex could end up in a billionaire's atrium or something. But will it always be there, or eventually will he donate that to a museum that is interested in having a display piece that people want to come and see?
Russell, Lindgren's Tyrannosaurus Rex, was discovered on a ranch in Montana. Another prominent fossil trader, and until this year regular at the Tucson Gem and Mineral shows, Eric Procopy, brought the more nefarious sides of the fossil trade to the fore in 2012 when he auctioned a Tyrannosaurus buttar for over $1 million. It was later proven that Procopy's skeleton was illegally smuggled from Mongolia, where commercial exploration of dinosaur bones is strictly banned. Procopy's dinosaur has since been repatriated, and the trader faces 17 years in prison. Thomas Carr says a lack of regulation means that illegal fossils work their way into the commercial market.
We actually do see Mongolian fossils surface for sale in North America in auctions, and also they turn up at the Tucson show. So those have to be illegally exported, It has to be a black market network that permits that sort of thing to happen.
Lindgren, on the other hand, says that while cases like Prokopi's bring bad press for his industry, he doesn't believe further regulation is required.
Those of us that do this regularly police everyone else because we don't want a bad name. And someone that gives us a bad name, we blackball. We won't deal with them. We won't buy from them.
Over the course of the 2 weeks that Lindgren opened his doors to the public in Tucson, a number of fossils on display in his showroom were carefully packed into crates and shipped to buyers around the world. But when the 2014 Gem and Mineral Shows came to a close, Russell remained frozen mid-snarl, where he'll stay until Lindgren finds a buyer.
I don't need to sell science. I don't need to sell something that's really important, but I need to preserve it.
Next, we talk to an evolutionary biologist who studies the past to better understand the flu. His latest findings, published in the journal Nature, are challenging some of what researchers thought they knew about the virus. Michael Worobey, with the University of Arizona Department of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology, is here to explain. Michael, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Please tell us a little bit about your recent research on the flu, Michael.
Sure. So this paper that just came out, it was kind of a two-part thing. We developed a new methodology that helps us infer the family tree of these viruses, and then we use that to infer this evolutionary tree that tells us how the virus moves between hosts, birds, horses, humans, pigs, and when those events took place. And that's kind of the key to understanding the emergence of important pathogens like the 1918 Spanish flu virus.
And in terms of that transfer, are we getting the flu from wild animals or from domesticated animals, Michael?
Well, let me step back and say that the view for many years now has been that wild birds are the natural primordial reservoir of this virus. There's a tremendous genetic diversity of the virus in wild birds. So viewers will know of H1N1, H3N2. There are about 16 different H types in birds and about 10 different N types. And what you see is the viruses mix and match and come up with new combinations that sometimes jump into humans or other animals. And birds, whether domestic or wild, are thought to be the ultimate source of that. What we're finding is that instead of being really ancient, the genetic diversity in birds, including wild birds, looks like it only traces back about 150 years. And a very interesting pattern where in the 8 different segments of the genome of the virus, you see very similar timing. So something really interesting happened in the late 1800s and sort of reshaped the source of this genetic diversity that creates these downstream pandemic events.
And Michael, why is 1872 important to your research?
So when you line up these evolutionary trees, you have to make a different family tree for each of these 8 gene segments. In the past, with previous methods, it's just kind of been a mess. You can't really tell really clearly when the virus moved from one host lineage to another. But when you use this new methodology, it looks like something special happened in there in the 1800s, where you see the common ancestor of all of the avian diversity in most of these genome segments with an obscure equine, so a horse flu lineage, right about this same time point. I didn't know about this when I was starting the study, but I found out that in 1872 there was a huge horse flu outbreak, sort of like the Spanish flu in humans, but for horses. It starts in Toronto and sweeps all across North and South America. And it looks like this event is timed at the same point where the reset button was pushed on the genetic diversity in the wild birds. So perhaps the virus moved from horses to birds, perhaps the virus moved from birds to horses, but one way or the other, there's this strong relationship.
Okay. And what is your research? You mentioned the 1918 pandemic. What does your research tell us about that?
Yeah. So the 1918 pandemic flu strain. It caused one of the most intense outbreaks in human history. It killed maybe 50 million people in one flu season in 1918. Since that time, we haven't been able to pin down even to a hemisphere where this thing came from. And there have been competing theories about whether it jumped from birds into humans or was a sort of mixing and matching between human and swine flu viruses. With this new method, a lot of the confusion goes away, and you can see a very clear signal. Most of the genome of this virus came from the Western Hemisphere, probably North America, and from birds, just within a few years of 1918. So we don't have the full picture yet, but we've made a big jump from where we have been.
Okay. And Michael, I understand, we have about 45 seconds left. I understand there's an interesting story about how you came up with this idea. Can you tell us about that, please?
Yeah, it's a question I've been looking at for many years, but one of the turning points was I had evolutionary trees of all of these 8 different gene segments spread out on my kitchen table, and my daughter's plastic ruler was nearby. And I just started measuring the rate at which the branches on the tree grow. And it just struck me that this thing evolves at totally different rates in birds, horses, humans. If you don't correct for that, you're probably going to get the wrong answer. And that was sort of the starting point.
Well, Michael, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next News Hour. A military aircraft beloved by ground forces on the chopping block in this latest round of budget cuts. That's Tuesday on the PBS News Hour.
Millions of Syrians have left their country to escape the war.
This is the largest refugee situation since Rwanda. These are people with horrible stories of suffering who have fled their homes sometimes several times with almost nothing.
I'm Renee Montaigne. How the rest of the world is responding to Syria's refugee crisis on the next morning edition from NPR News.
Pima County has added a new mapping tool to help residents navigate the Affordable Care Act. The director of the Pima County Health Department, Francisco Garcia, is here to tell us how the new map works. Francisco, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Alan.
How does this new map work, Francisco?
Well, as part of our education and outreach efforts around the Affordable Care Act, we've assembled a variety of tools on our website, one of which is a new interactive mapping tool. This tool allows you to get on the web, locate your home, and identify which kinds of resources are available in your neighborhood or in your locality that will assist you in getting enrolled.
And Francisco, looking at it in a step-by-step basis, how does someone find the map and utilize the map to get involved with ACA?
Really easy to do. You go to a website, www.pima.gov/ACA, and that will take you to our interactive website. From that website, you can identify a variety of tools, including the interactive mapping tool, as well as other resources for how to get started to figure out what your ACA benefits or responsibilities may be.
And does this actually allow the person to sign up for ACA, or is it just pointing them in that direction?
So the way that the website is structured is it takes you to the right place, either on the federal side or on the state side, to actually get signed up. Additionally, we have other resources, including the 1-800 telephone numbers that people can avail themselves if they are not particularly web savvy or if they would prefer a human interaction. We know that a lot of folks would prefer to talk to individuals in their communities and in their neighborhoods, and the interactive map helps you figure out where across Tucson and Pima County you may be able to find those individuals.
So this would help them find counselors who could perhaps help them work through the enrollment process?
A variety of resources, including counselors and other insurance professionals who are trained and able to assist you in figuring out what it is that you need to apply for.
And how does this resource help people who may not have any idea how to get involved with ACA?
So for a lot of folks across this jurisdiction, the Affordable Care Act has been kind of a confusing rollout. So during the last 6 months, we've been developing these kinds of resources for individuals. You can actually go to one of our tabs called I Don't Know Where to Get Started, and it will take you to exactly a graphic that shows you what your income your family income and your family sizes, and based on those two factors, direct you to the right place on the web, either on the federal side or on the state side, to get started in the process of becoming enrolled for care.
And the map itself, does that help people find places that are geographically close to where they live, perhaps?
The idea for the map is exactly to do that, to identify the locations as well as the phone numbers so that you can make an appointment at a time that's convenient for you.
Okay. And in terms of feedback, have you gotten any feedback from people who have used this site yet, Francisco?
So we're starting to get some feedback on it. We've just uncovered or rolled this out in the last week or so, and we're getting a lot of really good feedback. Most individuals who are looking to try to make it under the deadline of March 30th are really kind of grasping for straws at this point, and this has ended up being a good resource for them figuring out where in Tucson those resources can be found.
Do you have any statistics, Francisco, in terms of how many people have utilized the site?
Yes. We are really excited because with regards to the Affordable Care Act, the coverage for folks in this jurisdiction in Pima County is conservatively about 28,000 since the beginning of the enrollment period. Now, that's not 28,000 people have hit our website, but that's 28,000 people have been brought into the insurance, either through Medicaid, our Access product, or through the federal marketplace. And we are but one of many partners that are at the table trying to make this happen.
And you mentioned many partners. Are hospitals involved in this, insurance brokers, that kind of thing, Francisco?
Hospitals, insurance brokers, the federally qualified community health centers, the United Way, and a variety of other advocacy and community-based organizations across the community.
Okay. And the state of Arizona is having a big push this weekend called Cover Arizona. Is Pima County involved in that, and if so, how?
Absolutely. Well, I'll just remind your viewers that March 31st is the deadline for open enrollment under the Affordable Care Act. So Saturday, March 1st, Cover Pima County will be an event across our jurisdiction at 4 convenient locations throughout Pima County where we will be providing free health insurance and enrollment assistance. Cover Pima County is part of a much larger Enroll Arizona kind of initiative that will also be taken care of. At that will be an opportunity for visitors, for folks from the community to come and talk to health insurance professionals and enrollment specialists to get assistance with that process.
Okay. And Francisco, we have about 30 seconds left. Is it Pima County's job in this case to help get people involved in ACA? Is that tasked by the government or something?
So no, it's not Pima County's job to help people get enrolled for the Affordable Care Act. However, one of the strategic priorities that have been articulated by our stakeholders is the whole access to care issue. That's why we're at the table. That's why we're making this happen.
Francisco, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Al.
Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We are here tonight to talk about the new biogas project. What is this project?
In Pima County Wastewater, the utility that we operate, most people think when you deal with wastewater, you end up with a water product and a solid product, but you also end up with a gas product. And we're embarking on a project to beneficially use. We need to clean that gas in order to beneficially use it. So we're headed down that avenue with this project.
Right. How expensive is building and operating this facility?
The process to build the facility, or the cost to build the facility, is estimated at around $10 million. That's something unusual or different about this project for us in Pima County. We do lots of projects. In fact, we just are completing several $100 million worth of some capital improvements. This gas project, while it's only at $10 million, in comparison, it's a smaller project, but we're going to deliver this through a private design, build, finance, own, and operate. So we're actually going to sell gas to a third party and let them build the project, clean the gas, and sell it to the marketplace. So that's a bit unusual for some of the ways that we have delivered projects in the past.
Right. So you aim to complete this project by the end of, build this facility by the end of December 2015. So what will basically happen in those 2 years right now?
So right now we just have embarked on negotiations. We've had a number of firms submit. We were out looking for requests for qualifications, and we had over 5 firms come in and submit their qualifications as interested in doing this gas project. We've interviewed them, we've basically ranked them for their proposal or their plans, and we are now sitting down with the first place firm and negotiating exactly what they'll do and how it will benefit Pima County and our wastewater utility and the community, and what they intend to do. So we're just embarking on that negotiation. It shouldn't take too long to come to some final agreement. Then they'll design the facility and build the facility over that 2-year period. In the meantime, we are flaring the gas. We use about 15% of the gas we generate, and the rest we do not have the use for in the condition it's in, so we need to do this project.
Right, so are there any drawbacks to this project?
To me, it's all positive and all win-win. Just flaring the gas seems like such a waste for a renewable resource that the fuel is. You know, there's such a demand on fossil fuel, and we could have lengthy discussions about that. But making a renewable project out of this gas product is, to me, just benefit for the community, for the environment, and for the ratepayers that pay for the service we provide.
Right, and what is the current treatment of wastewater?
The current treatment, well, we just have invested almost $600 million in upgrades and expansion to our facility to even further treat wastewater to a much higher level. Regulatory requirements have changed in our permits, and I'm going to talk about the water portion of, wastewater coming into the wastewater utility is 99% water, and so we now, through these changes in the process, we remove nutrients, which are primarily nitrogen or ammonia, and we make a very, very clean final water or effluent product. It's not drinking water quality, but it's very, very close, and it has multitude of reuse applications, which is critical for the arid West that we live in. Water is a very important commodity, and so we allow the community to use that water in beneficial ways. So that's the primary sustainable focus and goal of the wastewater. But solids, there's a small percentage of solids and organic material in the treatment process, and we have to make them safe to dispose of them. And so digestion, that is the technical term of the process we use, and that's very important to make them stable and safe to use. And we actually use the solids, the biosolids, in agriculture on farm fields. And then the final process is the gas. Because we produce gas as a byproduct of digestion, it's a waste to just flare it to the environment, to the atmosphere, and burn it. So we're excited about cleaning it and finding an important renewable market for it.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
My pleasure.
That's our show. To keep up with the latest news and watch the segments from this and other editions of AZ Illustrated, go to our website, news.azpm.org. I'm Alan Fisher. Thanks for watching.